going on, Chicago Tough Sports fans? I'm Anthony. I'm here with Hitman. What's going on, Hitman?
What's up?
And tonight we're going to do our second Chicago Bulls show. And we have a lot to talk about. A lot to talk about with this team. A lot of it good. Some concerns. A couple, I don't know if you call them worries or not. So,
I mean, there's some things to be concerned about. Not nothing to be worried just yet.
no,
I mean,
but
it's too early in the season to be worried. But
Yeah.
but there are some concerns. Sure.
Yeah. But the good does overshadow the concerns we have. There is a lot of good with this team. Very exciting. Well, let's start with the big elephant in the room, the Zach LaVine situation with the torn ligament in his non-shooting hand, correct?
That's correct.
So that's I would say that's a worry for me. It's kind of it's both. It's a concern and a worry for me. The reason I mean, what are they doing? They're numbing his hand right now. Is that what they're doing?
I don't know if they're numbing his hand, but I know that they're wrapping it.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're treating it like it's a sprain. I mean, it's a grade 2 sprain of the thumb, which is basically a small ligament tear, which is basically what he has.
Okay.
So they're just right now is just tolerance for him. I mean, if he can go out there, if he can, dribble with his left hand, he should be fine. What I'm more concerned with is, there's going to be defenses or defenders that's going to basically going to try and hit his hand.
Absolutely.
Why wouldn't you? I mean, that's a weakness at this point. So the thing is that I think Billy Donovan said that, like it would take weeks for it to heal right.
Without surgery, right?
Without surgery. So, I mean, and Zach doesn't want to take games off. So it might be a situation where as long as it doesn't get to a point where it's a hindrance, he should be fine. But also, if that tear doesn't grow, I mean, for everything that I've read from at least what on social media, what was posted, that looks like that injury shouldn't get worse.
Yeah.
So which is a plus.
Yeah, but like you said, which rolls into one of the bullet points I was going to make on this topic. Defenses are going to take advantage of that, maybe swat at the hand, little ticky-tack fouls just to try and worsen the injury. And if that happens, that's, I mean, how long, if he has surgery on that hand, if it does get worse, you're at least, 10 weeks?
Well, I mean, for everything that I read, it could be 12 weeks. I saw something that was 3 weeks. So, I mean, it just depends on, I guess, the surgery or, how the tear is. But, it could be anywhere between 3 to 12 weeks. I mean, it's just stuff that I looked up on WebMD.
Yeah, good old WebMD and Google, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, my worry is if they're numbing it and he's out there playing, I know he's playing tonight, which is great.
Yeah.
But if the injury gets worse and he doesn't feel it right now, I mean, it could just continuously get worse and worse to the point where he does need surgery and then he's out for possibly 3, maybe even 4 months. That's huge because the Bulls really need Zach LaVine. This is a big year for him. This might be one of the more important years of his career. I mean, am I wrong?
No, I mean it's important to him because this is the first team in a while where he has a legit shot of making the playoffs, and 2, he's in a contract year, man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's in the process of making tons of money going into next year. So I mean, that's definitely something that probably weighs on him. It's probably one of the reasons why he wants to play as well, so he can show that he's tough and he can play through things, and that's going to be him. But one of the things that I will say is that I do trust Billy Donovan in terms of just making sure that he protects Zach. Like maybe this is one of those situations where you play Zach LaVine a little bit more off the ball. The ball's not in his hands a lot, so maybe you can do that with him. I mean, the Bulls have enough ball handlers, especially now with Lonzo Ball and DeMar DeRozan, where you don't necessarily have to worry about Zach LaVine.
No.
In terms of having the ball in his hand. But you can just have him coming off curls for shots, or have him just play a little bit more off the ball. So I'm not concerned. And plus the fact that, look, if this was a different coaching staff or a different a medical staff, I'll be a little more concerned, because the previous regime, that medical staff wasn't exactly great.
No.
So yeah, I mean, look, anytime you have one of your best players that has an injury, there's always going to be a level of concern.
Yeah.
Always going to be a level of concern.
I feel that if this torn ligament doesn't start healing naturally within, what can you say, the next 3 weeks?
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, if he was arrested, I mean, it'll be a 3 weeks. It could be fully healed.
I mean, if it doesn't start showing signs of improvement, they might have to pull the trigger on surgery.
Well, it all depends on his pain tolerance and how he's playing. If he's playing like crap, then yeah, you probably have to think about it. But if he's playing typical Zach LaVine basketball, there's no sense.
Yeah.
Just it just depends on how he reacts. I mean, plus he has to treat it.
Yeah. I caught the first quarter of tonight's game before we came on, and he is babying it. He is he's kind of like defending. He's kind of keeping not behind him, but it's not out in front of him in a proper defensive position.
Well, yeah. I mean, he's going to baby until he feels comfortable with it, and that's totally understandable.
It's like, for me, it's like a double-edged sword. It's like but the Bulls need him out on the court to make the playoffs. They need him. But it's like, I want them to rest him so it heals properly and it doesn't get worse. So when the playoffs come, he's available. Does that make sense?
No, it does. But I think the whole thing is as you and I talked yesterday, it's just pain management.
Yeah.
It's how he's going to have to, baby it. He's going to have to treat it. He's going to have to do whatever he can to protect it. I mean, he might end up having to wear, some sort of like thumb sleeve during games or something like that, or certain kinds of tape just so he can protect it.
He had something on it. It was white. It covered like the majority of his left hand and the thumb, of course, and then it probably went up a little bit past the wrist. It looks like some kind of glove or something.
Yeah, he probably has some sort of tape, to keep it together, keep it stable.
Yeah.
But I mean, once again, it's going to come about where, talk about tolerance.
Yep.
I mean, if he has a high pain tolerance, then he should be fine.
Now, the last little bullet point on this topic, and then we'll move on.
Sure.
Should the Bulls take one more precautionary step and maybe put him on a
minute restriction?
Yeah, there you go. Minute. I was going to say a pitch count, but yeah, I'm thinking baseball.
I mean, it's now. There's no need to put him on a minute restriction unless he was coming back from.
I'm saying just as like an extra precautionary measure,
No, if he's able to play, let him play as a lot of minutes. The only time you should probably be able to put him on a minutes restriction unless he's coming back from some sort of, injury like a knee or something like that, where you can't, where you're really trying to be careful with it. But no, I don't think you should, put him on some sort of minutes restriction.
Okay.
I mean, if he can play, he can play.
Yeah. So, well, moving on. Something happy to talk about, something good about the Bulls. They're 4-0 for the first time in 25 years. They started the season off 4-0. They beat the Pistons 94-88. Then they beat my second favorite team, the Pelicans, 128-112. And then the Pistons rolled in. They beat them 97-82. And then the Raptors game, which kind of worried me, but they did win 111-108. Now, in each of those games, they started slow offensively. And I get it. New players are coming together. Chemistry has to build. But then it picked up in the second half. Very fast, the momentum picked up, the speed of their game picked up. But I'm noticing as each game is played, especially Lonzo Ball, and it's a concern. Again, we're not using the word worry too much. It's more of a concern right now.
Mm-hmm.
Lonzo Ball is starting to try and force a lot of shots that aren't there. I'm getting the impression and the feeling maybe he's trying to showboat a little bit. I know they're probably riding on that cloud right now, that pedestal. They need to slow down, especially on the offensive side of the ball. Use the shot clock. Take time off the clock. Take that ball away from the opposition. It's just Lonzo. And I've noticed DeMar's doing it a little too. They're forcing a lot of shots that just aren't there. I don't know. Have you noticed that?
Well, I've noticed that their half-court offense isn't as productive as we would like right now, and that'll come.
Yeah. Again, four games in.
I don't necessarily know about using that's old school basketball. That's 80s 90s basketball where you're bleeding the shot clock. I mean, this isn't the game right now. The most important thing is to get as many possessions as you possibly can. So guess what? You're gonna take shots early in the shot clock.
Yeah.
My theory is as long as it's a good one, it should be good. But yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned with the shots. Like I said, some of these guys have green lights. It is what it is. Some nights the shots are going to go in, others that they're not. I do think as far as like the slow starts, it just goes with Zach LaVine too. There's been multiple games so far early on in the season where he's been scoreless in the first quarter.
Yeah.
The first game of the year he was scoreless, and then he ended up with 20 by halftime.
Yeah.
So
I think against I think it was against the Raptors. He didn't score his first point until the third quarter, until the second half, I think.
I think it might have been the second quarter, and sometimes it could be just the way that the defense is playing him. The defense might have him scouted really well. Shots may not be falling, or Zach's on a team right now where he doesn't have to do everything right now.
Nope.
So Zach doesn't have to shoulder the load for everything. So if DeRozan comes out hot, that's a good thing, and Zach can kind of pick and choose his spots to where he can take over a game.
Yeah. I'm starting to find myself like yelling not yelling, but talking to the TV, like and with the Bulls offense, like slow down. What is their defense ranked right now, the Bulls? I didn't get a chance to look.
Their defense is pretty good.
Their defense is doing the job and very well. They're doing a fantastic job on defense, especially when they have a lead. I don't see the purpose to go flying down the field and take the quick shot if the shot isn't there. And then they start missing a lot of shots, and then the lead dwindles, and then they almost lose the game like what happened against Toronto.
Well, right now they're second in the league in defense.
That's excellent.
Yeah, they're second. Well, they're second in the league in defensive rating, and
hands.
I said,
hands.
Yeah, as far as their offense is concerned, look, they want to play with pace. They want to play with some sort of kind of speed. So you're gonna take shots early on in the shot clock that some of us fans might not necessarily like, but that's how they're gonna play.
Yeah. No.
Remember, outside of Vucevic, we'll get to him in a little bit.
Yeah.
But, this team is not going to play back to the basket. This is not coming down and we're going to throw the ball in the post. We're not going to throw the ball to Luke Longley and play off of him. No, they're going to go down. They're going to, 1 or 2, 3 or 4 passes, cut, and finally get shot and shoot it. And if that's within, the first 10 seconds of the shot clock or 15 seconds of the shot clock, fine. But you're not going to get to a point where you're bleeding the shot clock. It's just not going to happen.
It's just we're so used to crappy Bulls teams. I just want them to do well. I want this to work for them. I really do. And yeah, I guess that's why I'm saying, like, slow down. Your defense is there. Let your defense get you the ball, and then make good of their defense.
Yeah, no, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, their defense is going to be pretty good. I mean,
It's awesome.
There's going to be nights where they're going to get torched because that's just the NBA. But overall, I think their defense will be fine, unlike what some other national pundits may think. But their defense is fine. Their offense is going to get better. I'm not too concerned.
Okay. Yeah, again, just little petty things that I'm noticing,
No, I mean, look, we as fans don't want to see those concerns turn into worries, because that's when shit rolls downhill. So, I mean, you don't want to see that.
Yeah.
But the good news is that you have a head coach and a coaching staff who can see that and make adjustments.
Yep. And they have the personnel to make adjustments if needed.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is, you and I talked in our preview show that, this team is very athletic. They are deep. I do have my concerns at certain positional spots with this team, but that's just how they wanted to play. But we'll see how it goes. We have, after tonight, there's 74 games left. 75 games left.
And they have a big West Coast.
77 games left, excuse me.
Yeah, they have a big run on the West Coast.
Yeah, and you know what's funny about that West Coast trip is, you look at it and you're just kind of like, all right, they got the Lakers, the Clippers. I think the Trailblazers are on that as well.
Utah.
The Lakers don't really scare me. The Lakers don't really scare me. The Clippers don't really scare me. The only reason why I'm concerned about playing Utah is because, that altitude sucks.
And they got Snyder over there.
Yeah, I mean, but even with that, I mean, you got, Utah is a Western Conference powerhouse for the most part, but they have a distinct home court advantage because they play Utah. I mean, that's not exactly a great place for people to play.
All right. My next concern, and you and I, we've talked about this throughout the week through text message. It's Vucevic. I'll just call him Vuk. Nikola Vuk. He's missing just about everything in the paint. I don't know what it is. It's weird. Like, a lot of the shots, I mean, he's not wide open, but the shot is there, but he keeps missing. I don't know if it's bad luck or if it's bad aim or he's just off. But once he gets out of the paint, he's basically unstoppable.
Well, I mean, it could be timing. It could be, everything isn't exactly there. I mean, look at it this way. I mean, a lot of these guys, a lot of these players are used to playing 6, 7, 8, 10 preseason games. I kind of cut that in half.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a concern. I was actually looking up his 2-point percentage, and it's not exactly great. I mean, from 0 to 3.
Let me guess. Is it real bad?
Yeah, I mean, from 0 to 3 feet, he's shooting 23%.
I was going to say like 27%.
I mean, then you get from 3 to 10 feet, it's, 30%. And
What's he
then you
shooting on
got,
the arch?
on a year, he's shooting, let me go back up, excuse me. On a year, he's, shooting, let's see here, Vucevic, 39%.
Wow. From the arch, from 3-point?
No, from that's his total percentage of the year.
Oh, overall.
That's it overall.
Oh, okay.
But that number will go up.
Mhm.
That number will go up. I mean, he's a notorious slow starter, even in his times in Orlando. So he'll still get, my theory with him is just get your double, play a little bit of defense, and call it a day.
That's another thing with him. I see everyone else with the hands. They're real handsy on the defensive side. I don't see him doing much on that end of the court.
Well, I mean, it depends on what they're asking him to do. I mean, maybe it's one of those where they're not asking him to be all handsy. That's a defensive determination that Billy Donovan and his staff probably made. As long as he's able to rotate on the pick and roll and able to get back to guard the man and contest a shot, that's fine. And I've seen that for the most part.
I would find that odd that being the big man out there, Billy Donovan and the rest of the coaching staff tells him, don't worry about the defensive side of the court. Being the big man out there, I would find.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say don't saying worry.
That's what it is. I'm just that would be odd if that was the case.
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say don't necessarily worry, but it's don't worry about the defensive side of the court, but
don't
just
stress.
Yeah, don't stress. Don't move your feet. Take up space, box out, rebound, go from there.
Okay. Let's move on to my guy, Lonzo Ball. Are you able to pull up his stats on your phone?
Yeah. I have Lonzo Ball stat.
Yeah, just the first 4 games. While you're doing that, I'll just talk a little on him. The impact that this kid has made within the first 4 games, it's out of this world ridiculous. I mean, from the opening tip-off, he's just causing chaos out there.
Yeah.
For opposing offense. When he's defending someone, it's almost like they're scared to take a shot over him because he's going to tip the ball or swat it away or steal. Or the opposition looks scared when Lonzo Ball is on him. It's awesome. I love it. I'm so happy that Lonzo Ball's working out.
It's interesting because one of the things that we've heard, even when they signed him, was the fact that he was a good on-the-ball defender. And you saw that within the first 4 games. I mean, if you go back to that defensive sequence, I guess the Raptors, when he had to play Ojinobi one-on-one, I mean, you saw him moving his feet. You saw him deflecting passes. You saw him, use his reach, his length. I mean, that's a good thing. That's part of the reason why you sign him, for his being able to be a decent to a good on the ball defender. So yeah, I mean, but
go on. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
And I was going to add too on the defensive end of the ball. He's so smart. Number one reason is he's hardly ever fouling when he's defending anyone. I hardly ever hear the whistle blow, and it's on number 2, Lonzo Ball. And these shooters are trying to get fouls off of him, but he'll have his hands up. But when they go to take the shot, he'll bring his hands down like that. So they'll go into him, but they won't get the whistle because his hands are down.
Right.
I find that incredibly smart for today's game.
Yeah, another thing that I'm liking too is, I mean, he's averaging 2 steals a game so far this year, but from a point guard point of view, he's averaging almost 2 blocks.
Yep.
And that's, I'm a person who likes big guards. I like big point guards, especially, but that was a good signing. He's playing well. I mean, you definitely seen it with his timely threes that he's been making, the defense he's playing, but most importantly, how he's, for the most part, and I stress this for the most part, how he's managing the team as a starting point guard.
I said in our preview video, he's going to make everyone on this team better, especially Zach LaVine. Signing Lonzo Ball, I said something to someone at work today, or not today, about a week ago. I'm calling Lonzo Ball like the poor man's Dennis Rodman. Obviously, he's not as good as Dennis Rodman. It's just he's always around the ball. You know what I mean? He's always causing some kind of chaos or confusion, or like he'll knock the ball away and he'll be the last one to touch it, but still he's breaking up plays for the opposition. He's causing disruption in their game plan. And he could swat every ball away and be the last one to touch it. But I'm happy as long as he's causing that disruption for the opponents.
Yeah. I mean, and you want that. I mean, you want that out of your point guard. You want that out of the guy that's, that's going to be on the ball. I mean, that's part of the reason why he's here.
And again, let me reiterate, Lonzo Ball is not or will never be as good as Dennis Rodman. I'm talking about the general play and the general purpose why he's out there on the floor. It just reminds me of Dennis Rodman, always in someone's face, always knocking balls away, always going up, getting the rebound. It just reminds me of Dennis Rodman.
Yeah, I mean, look, he's not going to put up the rebounding numbers. He's a better offensive player than Dennis is. But I mean, one of the things that they have in common is that they're good defensively. So, we just have to see, where this goes. I mean, I'm happy so far with what I've seen out of him. It could be a little bit better. I still have some concerns with Lonzo Ball as the primary ball handler in a half-court set, because I think that's where a lot of his turnovers come.
Yeah, that was going to be my next point when you're done.
But, overall, I mean, like I said, he's averaging 2 steals and 2 blocks. If he continues that for the next 70-something games, I mean, that's a good thing. That's a good thing.
Now, besides the shots he's starting to force, the shots that aren't there, I want him to stop doing something that he's doing a lot of. He'll have the ball. He'll go drive the lane, go for the layup, and then for whatever reason, he dumps the ball off. And more than half the time, he's turning the ball over when he's doing it. Just take the shot.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that.
You're forcing the 3-point shots that aren't there. Go for the layup that you're most likely going to make, because people are afraid to play defense in the NBA now. There's a 90% chance that layup is going to go in off the backboard. I mean, you're trying to force 3-point shots that aren't there. He keeps dumping the ball off. I saw him do it twice in the first quarter tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that's just part of this game, and he'll look. Lonzo Ball's 22.
Yeah.
So I mean, he'll continue to get better. He actually might be older than that, but still, but he'll get better. There's other things about Lonzo Ball that I'm concerned with. Like I said, it's just his just like you said, his decision making and just his half court awareness. I mean, outside of that, I mean, it's all good with him.
Yeah.
He's 24. Sorry, Lonzo Ball's 24.
So, all right. The last topic I want, not little topic, it's a big topic. I want to talk about this Bulls defense. It seems like, which is awesome. I'm not about to sit here and say the Bulls defense is bad or underachieving. In my opinion, they are overachieving. Only 4 games in, which is great. Keep overachieving. It's clear to me that this offseason and at practice, they're focused on defense. I think if the Bulls make the playoffs, it's going to be mainly because of the defense. Not riding the defense, but the defense is going to be the main purpose that the Bulls get to the playoffs. Because, like we've said earlier in this video, the hands, they're causing, and everybody except Vucevic, they're causing steals, they're blocking shots, rebounds. Lonzo, he's causing chaos. He's got shooters afraid to shoot over him. And the big thing is they're not fouling a lot. They're not sending the opposition to the foul line.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting about that because last year the Bulls had a lot of 3-point. They fouled a 3-point shooter a lot, and we haven't had that so far this year. And defense is a mindset. I mean, you have guys like Lonzo Ball and Caruso who play really good defense. You got Javonte Green, who's another good defender, and you got Patrick Williams who can defend as well. I mean, and Billy Donovan, as we talked about during the preview show for this team, that his defenses get better. I mean, and that's what's going on right now. I mean, I don't know what the stats will be after tonight, but like I said, they're second in defensive rating. But I mean, that's going to have to to stay there, in order for this team to make the playoffs and subsequently make a run.
And when opponents are taking three-point shots, they're not coming up to the baseline, setting, getting comfortable and shooting. They're very uncomfortable. I've noticed they're not comfortable shots because you always have Caruso.
They're challenging shots. Yeah. Challenging shots. Yeah.
Yep. And I love it. Even if it goes in, even if they shoot 40-50% from the 3-point, it's just the fact that this year's Bulls, they always have someone in someone's face on the opposing team. I mean, thankfully, the opposition isn't shooting 40-50% from the 3-point range. Yeah, but these other teams just look very uncomfortable, except for Toronto. Toronto looked a little comfortable against the Bulls. I think that was like their first big test, and they barely passed the test.
Well, my issue with the game in Toronto was the fact that you had a 20-point lead and then you start getting sloppy.
Yep.
My other issue with that game is the fact that, and this is an ongoing concern, and eventually it might turn into a worry, that something that you and I talked about, the rebounding. This team is small. This team, I mean, they have Vooch, who's 6'11", but outside, and Tony Bradley hasn't played yet, but outside of that, you don't really have any bigs. And you're asking Patrick Williams, who technically is a power forward. I mean, he's got a power forward body, but you're asking a 20-year-old to do stuff, and then you're asking a 6'7" Alize Johnson to basically, rebound.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, rebound is about effort and attitude, and some of these guys have it. But when you go up against a team like Toronto, who plays big, then yeah, that's going to be an issue. Rebound is going to be an issue.
I know you wanted to talk about Patrick Williams a little tonight. Now let me say before you start, I'm going to say something about it when you're done. That's probably going to piss you off. So I'll let you say what you wanted to say.
No, my thing with Patrick Williams right now is I need to know he's on the floor. That's my thing. I mean, you're on a court with 3 guys who can score, another guy who can score in Lonzo Ball. I need to know you're on the floor, and the way I know that is by you playing defense, rebounding, blocking shots, and being a contributor and taking and taking decent shots. I mean, there's been so many times, even going back to last year, where his stat line is like, especially in the first quarter, it's like 0.0 rebounds, 0 assists, maybe a block or whatever. Like he needs to be a little bit more productive. And I get it. He's coming back from injury. That's fine. But for me personally, if this team is going to be remotely good, to a point that they're challenging in the Eastern Conference, he's got to be better. And I think he'll get there.
Okay. Now that you said all that, you kind of rolled into what I'm about to say again. You said it best. We need to know he's out there on the floor. He's not contributing the way he should be. Again, he's probably still getting his legs under him. Maybe he still has a little pain or something that we don't know about.
He also hurt his shoulder. I
Yeah.
mean, in one of the, was it the Toronto game that he hurt his shoulder, maybe? Or I think it was, possibly. I mean, he has, a shoulder injury. So, I mean, that, he's battling some nagging injuries right now. So, but for me, I mean, there's still things that you can go out there and do. I mean, for on this team, he needs to average 12 points a game and eight to 9 rebounds and get a couple of steals and a block. That's his stat line right now. He doesn't have to be Kawhi, because you have guys on this team that can score, but you need to be able to defend. Yeah. You need to be able to rebound, things like that.
So it kind of sounds like he has no presence out there out on the court. I almost said field.
Well,
out there on the court, and because of that, I want Javonte Green out there. I was big on him in the preseason.
I like Javonte Green in the role he's in, to be that roller derby coming off the bench, to be that kind of that change of pace. Like you need those guys coming off the bench, and I think he's suited for that. Believe me, I'm gonna tell you this right now. I love Javonte Green.
Yeah.
But there might be a such thing as too much Javonte Green.
Ooh, not for me. Nah, he just has a ton of energy.
He does. He has a ton of energy.
He does everything that Patrick Williams isn't doing right now. Or not everything. He's doing more of a better job of what Patrick Williams.
Well, yeah, you notice him on the court. And,
yes.
And please remember this. Patrick Williams is only 20 years old.
Yeah.
So I mean, for me, it's another concern, not necessarily a worry, but I want to see the Patrick Williams I saw at a summer league. I mean, there was some talk, around social media about how maybe the Bulls should move Patrick Williams to the bench so he can be, kind of like the number 2 guy coming off the bench. And I'm like, I mean, you can do that, but why not just keep him in the starting lineup and just stress to him that, this is your role.
Yeah.
But Billy Donovan could do a better job of making sure he's involved in the offense early. Maybe you design some plays for him to get him going early, to get him a little more acclimated, to get him, get the juices going. Get him comfortable, get him going. That way he maybe because of the 4 guys that are on the court with him, with their stuff, maybe he's just not as engaged because he doesn't have the ball. I mean, I don't know. I mean, that's why Billy Donovan needs to. I mean, he even said so that he needs to come up with some design plays to get Patrick Williams going so he can feel more engaged in the game.
I'm just saying that from what I see on TV from watching the game.
Sure.
Again, you said it's a matter of presence, showing your presence, and for me, when I'm watching, I see presence out of Javonte Green, not Patrick Williams. But again, 4 games in.
I mean, look,
but I think when we start getting down the stretch, and it's time to start clinching playoff spots, or when it's time to start thinking about that, if Williams is still in this mode that he's in now, maybe you need to switch roles.
I don't think I wouldn't be concerned with Patrick Williams, towards April and May.
Okay.
Like I said, for me personally right now, I just want to see a little bit more of a presence. Just be the guy, just go out there and defend. If your points comes off of junk, such as tip dunks and stuff like that, that's cool.
Yeah.
But I also wish that he had a bit of a post game too. And it's not like his jumper is bad. He's got a decent jumper.
Yeah.
He just needs to be more involved. And like I said, for me, I think Billy Donovan needs to just do a better job of incorporating him more in the offense.
Yeah. Doug's bringing me his toys. No, I mean that's just about it. Unless you had anything else. No, actually, that's not it. Joakim Noah night. They made him they made him an ambassador of the Chicago Bulls. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I was a big Noah fan. Again, another guy who caused chaos. My best memory of Joakim Noah was the Miami Heat game. I don't know if it was a playoff game or what, but who was it? Chris Bosh, I think. Who was he arguing?
He's clapping. He's clapping. Yeah. I mean,
Loved
look, Joakim Noah was a guy that that basically, outplayed his talent, so to speak. I mean, he wasn't the guy that was going to give you 20 and 10, but he'll give you 12 points, 14 rebounds, 8 assists, a couple of blocks. He was, I mean, he was a good player, a great player for this organization. My fondest memories, is I have two. I mean, number one, his coming out party was Game 6 of the Eastern Conference quarterfinals against the Celtics when he stole the ball from Pierce and dunked on him.
Yep.
I mean, that was kind of for me. I was like, oh, I like this. I like this kid. And then, going back to, I believe it was 2012 or 2013 playoffs, one of those two, where, he basically willed that team a playoff series win against the Nets. And this dude was playing on 1 foot. And that's one thing I will say about Joakim Noah, man. That dude was a warrior, man. That
he was tough.
Played through ankle injuries, knee injuries, plantar fasciitis. I mean,
he played through everything.
Yeah, man. That dude, personifies, Chicago tough. But he had a nice following. For him to get this ambassadorship, I actually was hoping that, and maybe it's still happening, that the Bulls can retire his number. Because I think he's done some good stuff. With
I
this,
could go for that.
I know the Bulls only have X amount of numbers retired, and that's fine. But I think there are guys within this organization or who have played for his organization who deserve to have their number retired, and Joakim is one.
I kind of got in the mood to kind of do a lot of research on him and look back and look at some videos of him on YouTube, stuff like that. It's almost like he missed the era that he should have been playing in. He should have been in that like 96, 97, 98 Bulls era. He would have fit in so nicely in that era because he was just rough. He was a dog out on that court, man. Unfortunately, he played in an era where if you breathe on someone too hard, you get teed up.
Well, I mean, get that and a lot of those positional changes. Joakim was not going to shoot threes. He wasn't going to shoot.
He had one of the most ridiculous looking 3-point shots.
But and that's the thing. I mean, at times when he shot it, it looked. I mean, it didn't look the greatest, but it went in.
Yeah, right.
But the guy was great at what he needed to do, which was be a nuisance out on the court, and also play some defense. I mean, also another underrated aspect of Noah was his passing. The dude was a great passer, man. I mean, to a point where the Bulls start running offensive sets through him. It was. I have nothing bad to say about Joakim Noah. I wish that he was able to finish his career. Well, I think he signed a one-day deal, but I wish he was able to not go to the Knicks and not go to Memphis, able to finish up his playing career as a Chicago Bull. But
because when he was with them, the Big Five was what? Him. It was Luol Deng. Kurt Heinrich, of course, D Rose, and Taj Gibson, right?
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, that was a
yeah,
good
I mean,
fight for them.
yeah, I mean, and that went along with a lot of the good draft picks that John Paxson had. I mean, Joe was one of them. Kirk, um, Ben Gordon,
Ben
um,
Gordon, wow, there's a name drop.
um, Dang, just a lot of those draft picks that John Paxson had. And look, I know John Paxson gets a lot of grief in this town, and some of it is warranted, but you can't deny some of the successes he's had within the draft.
No, that was a good squad he put together. It just never panned out for him. It never.
No, no, I
No,
mean
just one
it
of
my
those
yeah.
things that didn't work.
My issues um, with John Paxson was, he was afraid to break up the core.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to break up the core in order to get somebody big. And, he fell in love with Luol Deng and Ben Gordon to a point where, he wouldn't want to trade him, but, it is what it is. But, from when he was drafted number 9th overall, and how his people forget, man, that his rookie year was pretty shitty, man. That dude, yeah, that dude was not great. That dude was, getting into fights with Joe Smith and Ben Wallace and stuff like that.
There's another one, Ben Wallace.
And just a testament of hard work, man. From where he was when he was drafted to being a multi-time All-Star, Defensive Player of the Year,
yep.
all defensive team. Yeah, he had a very, very, very good career. So
right.
Congrats to Joe Noah on his career.
And then Saturday is Tony Kukoc night.
Yeah, another guy who had a good career. I mean, he was a perfect fit with those championship Bulls teams. I mean,
he ended with.
I
want to say the Spurs. He ended with the Spurs, right?
I want to say the Bucks. I want to say he ended up with the Bucks.
Why am I thinking Spurs? Did he play for the Spurs at all?
I'm thinking
of Kerr. I'm thinking of Steve Kerr.
Yeah, Steve Kerr, played for the Bucks. I mean, not for the Bucks, for the Spurs. But I think Kukoc ended his year with
Milwaukee.
With Milwaukee. But yeah, another guy that played his role with those championship teams. I mean, the guy could, if he wanted to, average 20, 22 points a game, but he didn't have to.
No.
He played with, with Michael and Scotty. I mean, but, he hit clutch shots when he had to. He was a good ball handler. I'm convinced that, as great as Michael and Scotty were, they don't win those championships without Tony Kukoc.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. Do we get a Jordan night?
He already had his night.
Do we get another one?
No.
No.
No. Look, I think if you're going to go, I mean, honestly, I think the next Bull to honestly get a night where he just honored might be Derrick Rose.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Oh yeah,
you have to do Derrick Rose.
Oh yeah, that's kind of that's next on the agenda. Maybe I personally would like to see a Bulls Ring of Honor. They don't, not necessarily a jersey ceremony or a jersey retirement, but it'd be nice to have some of these former players inducted to a quote unquote Ring of Honor. Obviously you have your Michael and Scotty, and you have your your Bob Loves and your Norm Van Liers and Jerry Sloans, but there are guys who played for this team in the past that were really good. I mean, I'm not just talking about, in the 90s, but even in the 80s and 60s and 70s that were, decent players that, we as young bucks didn't necessarily, I know wrestling pun, we as young bucks didn't necessarily see. Now I'm just gonna start super kicking people since I mentioned their name. So
I'm gonna super kick my dog next time he comes over.
yeah, I mean, there's guys, Horace Grant.
There's so many. There's so many.
Horace Grant.
BJ.
John Paxson, BJ, John Paxson, Steve Kerr. Craig Hodges. I mean, there's so many guys that you can, put within that Ring of Honor.
We're forgetting a big name, brother. The Worm.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You can put Rodman in there.
Have to put Rodman in.
You put Rodman in there. Absolutely.
All right, well, that's all I have for tonight. I mean,
yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing this season where I'm gonna go jump on and catch the rest of tonight's game against the Knicks.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that too. I'm curious to know how it ends up. Just for their, I mean, it's like your early match with, for them. We'll see how it goes. I'm not gonna, if the Bulls lose, I'm not gonna read too much into it.
No.
Even if they win, it's a good win. If they lose, just see how they play. How they stack up. So we'll see how that goes.
So, all right. Well, with all that being said, thanks, Hitman, for getting on here with me. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries. All good.
Shit. And thanks to everyone who's watching. Make sure you subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Turn on your notification bell. We do a lot of these shows. We put out some good stuff for everyone to enjoy. And head on over to Twitter. Check out our Twitter page, Chicago Tough Sports Pod. So until next time, have yourself a good night, Hitman. And enjoy the Bulls game. Go Bulls.
Yep.